where the formula are the rules and the one referring to the fact that this is the top tier of motor racing. F1's distinctive sound throughout the decades is in part due to the high revving engines in use. F1 engines during the V8 era and the mid-2000s, for example.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is IRT Esports. Oh, not yet, IRT Esports. Sorry, my name is IRT Indigo, and today I'm presenting you IRT Esports event right yet again for round number 7 here at the Imola Grand Prix here in Italy. So I've presented you for the action. We moved on from Australia, where we saw a great race for both CPI boys, and it was Kikowski and Igor who came out on top in 1-2, so CPI looking to close down that deficit between NLR and ETA. ETA still maintain the lead. They're 104 points they've got, and they're currently 28 points ahead of NLR, who is second place. And CPI caught up with WR Esports in P4, LDL in P5, RCR in P6, and IRT P7, Esports Pack in P8, GT10 in P9, and X Esports, who haven't got a point yet, so they'll be looking to score some points here tonight if they can around here in Imola. And it's such an old school circuit as well, so a nice circuit to come to. And the last time we raced around here was it 2006? I can't remember, but here we are then. The first man on the track is W.O. Thomas, and we're coming into the Davis corner where we saw Michael Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya, was it, when he forced him out wide at the exit of Torsa. We saw that press conference when Juan Pablo Montoya says he couldn't see me, but here we are then into Tournament 9 we go. We saw Gasly and Zhou Guanyu have contact throughout there back in 2022. I think Zhou Guanyu actually crashed into the wall. Yeah, return to the track ever since 2020 did at the Imola Grand Prix after a few tracks couldn't go on because of COVID rules. And that's when we had the 3 races here at Italy, Monza, Mugello and here at Imola. And it remains on the track for the rest of the season then, so it's made a return to Formula 1. What could it have been if COVID never happened? Will it still be here? I'm not quite sure, but like other tracks got introduced back in Imola, like Portimao, but unfortunately that track is not on the calendar. I think it's being replaced by the likes of Qatar or something like that. But here we are then, running off Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2 for W.O. Thomas to start his first flying lap then. So the DRS enabled for the one and only DRS zone around here. You can't really put any DRS anywhere else on this track. As we head down into turn 1 for Thomas. This is turn 1 here, easy flat out. But here we are, this is where it all gets tricky and technical into turn 2 and turn 3. Nicely done there for Thomas as we head through turn 4. And very nicely done through there. Threaded the needle through that section to come into Bernard chicane. Flick it in, and she carried a lot of speed and momentum there, gradually getting slower as we head through turn number 7 at Torsten. Just take it nice and easy on the exit, very easy to lose the car. You're running out wide to use all the track available as we head up the hill there towards turn number 9. A great section right here as well. Decent exit there at Piratella as we head down to Acqua Minerale, turn 11, turn 12 and turn 13 coming at you thick and fast. And slide down on the brakes then, instantly back on the throttle immediately as we come through the Variante Alta chicane. We saw Yuki Tsunoda crash back in 2021, I think in qualifying, and that's when he smashed up the rear end of the car too for good measure, as W.O. Thomas then as his first lap shaping up to be a really great one. So he makes his way through Ravazza 1 into 4th gear, patient on the throttle Ravazza 2. Make sure it doesn't run out wide at the exit of that corner because you put your car on the gravel. And here he comes then across the line, so 14.3 as a benchmark. So first lap time went really well, no invalidations, no obvious mistakes, and yeah, very smooth I think on that lap time. GT10 Quartz looks like he's had a problem too. I think he just dipped a wheel on the grass there, hence why he's got some debris on his tyres, so hopefully he can get rid of them, and he has to bail out his lap time too, because I think that mistake cost him a huge chunk of time then, so not ideal for him on his first lap, but his teammate is out there too for good measure. And here we are then with Zenon as he makes his way through Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2 as well. We've got a few more across the line, so that's Raul into P2 with a 14.5, 1-2 so far for those two, as Zenon goes into P3 with a 15.0 then, so huge margin over second place, but obviously the first lap times won't be as quite close because everybody's getting used to the track. Oliveira in P7 there in the McLaren, so let's see what he could do then. And I will have to, he went very wide put out at turn number 9 there, but got away with that Piratella as we come through Acqua Minerale did Oliveira, but I have to actually go away for a few minutes then. Not ideal, obviously. This is not the great time to commentate. So Spicer goes up into P1 with a 13.9. But ladies and gentlemen, just bear with me. I'll be back very momentarily. It shouldn't take long. It's only about 5 minutes, so I won't miss most of it as Kakowski puts his car into P3 then. So I'll be on mute. And for those who are going to join the stream and comment in the comment section, where's he gone? The people that's watching, just let them know in the comment section. So I'll be right back.
Coincidentally, he pushed Sebastian Vettel off the top of that record, who came second place in that same race. Present since the very start of the sport, Ferrari takes the #1 spot for almost all constructor records in F1. It's the team with the most world championships won, the most Grand Prix wins, most pole positions, and most race entries. Hello to everyone here and welcome, and a special shout out to our
Alright guys, I'm back, so apologies about that. So, yeah, Spy's the only man in the 13s then. Big gap over TJ Boss in P2, separated by about 3/10 then. So, looks like NLR have the advantage so far, but Kart Racer down in P16 haven't set a lap time. Neither have the two ETA boys of Brandox and Lulevera then, so those two will be looking to get a lap time on the board. I did see Lulevera out there, but he's headed back into pit lane, so I'm not quite sure what's happened to him down there, whether he made a mistake or invalidated, I'm not quite sure, but he's in the pit lane, so we'll have to await his lap time. As we've got Kart Racer out there in the Aston Martin, we've got Captain in P18 on the lap time, so let's watch his progress as he swoops now, heading into the Verno chicane as we head through Torsa, and let's see how he takes it a bit deep on the entry there. Exit the corner then for RCR Captain as we make our way now up towards turn number 9. A fast flowing corner there. Very easy to validate. A lot of validations happen there at that particular part of the track as we head through Acre Minerale. And this is a very difficult section of the track too. It's so easy to drop the back end of the car as you carry a lot of speed around into the corner, then having to brake immediately as we come through the chicane once again. You want to take a lot of curb, but obviously the back end of the car just stepping out there for Captain, so I might have lost a little bit of time due to that. As we make our way now into Rabatza 1 and Rabatza 2, braking just before the 50 meter board, hitting the apex there, a bit too deep, and Captain unfortunately has invalidated that lap time then, so it won't count. And it's such a shame because like you have what you've done the whole lap, but it's just the final corner where it just catches you out, and all the hard work is thrown down the drain just by that one corner too many. And yeah, you gotta be consistent and stay with that white lines. Unlike Kart Racer, unfortunately, who just at the exit of turn 13 there just invalidated the Kart Racer, so his progress has been undone, and I think he might dive back to the end of the pit lane because he's low on the ERS, and also the tyres have been worked up as well, so I think he might dive to the pit lane and put a brand new set of soft compound tyres. GT10 quarters then on another flying lap. In his first lap, I did see him have gravel on his tyres, so I'm assuming he went off at the Villeneuve chicane somewhere, where Sergio Perez spun back in 2021. As here we are then, or invalidated on the exit there. That's quite common too, because you want to take a lot of curb, but unfortunately that's way too much, and has gave him an invalidation then. So that lap time has ruined his progress, and that's done at turn 14 at Variante Alti, and he will die back at the end of the pit lane too. So quite a common theme around here with loads of people invalidating, but the people who have set a lap time immediately out there, that's incredible. Just to hook up the lap at the early parts of qualifying when the track hasn't rubbed up and rub it in either. So the drivers who could set a lap time immediately and just lay down the marker and put a statement down is just incredible. So LDL Exanon is currently 1/10 up in the first sector, so good showing and improvement from him. His teammate Oni is out there too in the other Williams. There he is then as he exited turn number 3, but doesn't look like he's on a lap time. Did he make a mistake in turn 2 and turn 3? I'm not quite sure, but it's very early to be backing out of that one for sure. It's so easy to mess up turn 2 and turn 3 and turn 4 because it comes at you immediately in that first chicane there, so you have your wits about you at all times, just spotting the brake in there, carrying the speed. Xenon is 2/10 up in this middle sector, so let's see where he puts himself amongst the rest of the competition as we make our way down into Abatsa then. Car on the left gets out of the way, as you can see he used a lot of track there, and he almost got away with it too. Well, he did get away with it as he makes his way towards the line. It's going to be a 14.7, so found a bit more time in that last sector, and he promotes his Williams into P11. And Raul crossed the line to go P7, but unfortunately has invalidated that lap time, has the AlphaTauri driver. Also his teammate has invalidated too. Brandoc's into P2 there with a 14.1 then, so trying to close that margin over Spicer, who's currently got pole position and the only man in the 13s then, so that this man is looking really good at the moment in time. I think he's just crossed the line now. I don't think he improved his lap time. His first lap of the board counted and still on pole position then, so not able to improve on his second or third lap time depending on how many lap times he's done. But as you could see, a lot of people are invalidating, and it's not surprising to see really as we come into the chicane then. It takes it nice and neatly through there for Lulivera. Obviously on his first lap he invalidated, hence why he hasn't got a lap time on the board. And he's one of those 4 drivers who have a set a lap time. But he's about to, so let's see if it's near the top front. Let's see if he can put himself amongst that pack as we cross the line now. What lap time is this going to be for Lulivera? It's P13, or P7, sorry. It's a 14.3 for Lulivera. And he's quite close to the town. So Kakowski and Neressa Hero in P6. As Kakowski 3/10 up in the middle sector, but unfortunately invalidated again. So yeah, these drivers just getting caught out by running a bit too deep on the exit of corners there. Kart Racer hasn't set a lap time either, gets a good toe off his teammate as we head through turn 2, turn 3 and turn 4. This is fast coming corners. You can be very precise with those corners as well. You can't afford to make mistakes at all. Very punishing this track for mistakes with the validations as well, as XV3 has gone into P5 in the Alfa Romeo then. I think X hasn't got any points this season, so they'll be looking to get some points to the board. They're currently last in the championship, so the Alfa Romeo driver in P5 looking really good so far, and hopefully for their team they can score some points. Kart Racer representing NLR threaded the needle through Acqua Minerale. Some fascinating corners around here as we head into another chicane, a Variante Alta. Oh, you can see there, first part of it just looked unsteady, and you can see the second part didn't really hook it up as he wanted to, but gets away with it. At least he didn't run wide, and this is going to be his first lap time on the board too, so it's very important that he didn't invalidate this because time's running out for him. And Kart Racer then will make his way towards the line, and let's see if he can finally put a lap on the board. It's a 13.9. Wow, that lap time. It's an NLR 1-2. Incredible there from the NLR boys, the only 2 in the 13s. And yeah, what a strong showing those 2 are currently putting on here at the IRT Esports event, just showing their hand and putting a statement amongst the rest, and the rest of them have to catch up if they can. So GT Quartz hasn't set a lap time either. He's 2 previous runs, I think one of them he went off the track, and the second one he invalidated too, so hopefully for the third time lucky he can get a lap on the board, but he can't because he's headed back in the pit lane then. So yeah, currently in last place with no time on the board. His teammates currently in P11, GT10, so they're looking to try and sneak inside the top 10. Good evening everybody in the chat. With 3 minutes left to go in the session, majority of drivers are out there, majority of drivers are in the pit lane. One of them is still circulating on the track, which is Kart Racer, who just finished his lap, but there he is then in the Aston Martin on pole position by a few hundreds as well, so close margins around this tricky track, and he'll be heading back off into the pit lane. I don't know if he's got another set of softs in his disposal, but we're about to find out. So here we are then, closing stage of qualifying. Expect to see a mad dash out of the pit lane, and we'll see which one of these guys will take pole position away from the NLR boys. TJ Boss is currently closest with Brandox. I think NLR are starting to close in. They had great pace throughout the whole season. ETA got off to a good start, but NLR are starting to close the gap down. And then being I think they're P2 in the championship, aren't they? Yeah, they are. They're P2 in the championship, so they're just trying to take away edge by edge, race by race as well, all those crucial points. And ETA, currently so far, with Lolavera in P9 and Brandox in P4, we're looking to improve on their lap times too, as they desperately need to try and get good results now as NLR. And also CPI tries to close in. CPI, by the way, finished 1 and 2 in the last race at Australia. Great teamwork from Kukowski and Eagle to be there working together to keep the NLR drivers at bay. But looks like the pendulum has swung towards the NLR boys and are currently in P1 and 2. So a lot of work to do for CPI and ETA and the rest of them to catch up. So close the stage to qualifying. An IRT driver is out there, which is IRT Bobpia. So let's see what the Dutchman could do in that Mercedes then as he makes his way towards the finish line to start his potentially last flying lap then. Currently down there in P15 with a 40.7. So let's see how much time we can find as we head down into turn number 2 then, carrying a lot of speed through there. You arrive at fast speed and continue to have momentum through it to turn 3 and 4 as we head through the Verdo chicane at turn 5 and turn 6, just flicking in, carrying a lot of speed there. Very easy to mess with in these corners as well. He's been very precise. 3/10 up, Bobpia is already in the first sector, so indicating that his first lap time wasn't that great then. Exiting Torsa, now coming through Piratella at turn number 9, another great section of track, just flicking in through 5th or 6th gear, depending if you have to downshift or not, I'm not quite sure, because a lot of drivers have their own personal choices and preferences. Acura Minerali can be a difficult corner to on the exit, it's easy to validate too. And 5/10 up in this middle sector, Bobpia's going to keep it nice and clean then, as he takes a lot of curve into Variante Outer chicane, and now we're making our way downhill with the Aston Martin all in front of us. Oh, there's traffic there as the NLR driver gets out of the way just in the nick of time, and luckily he did, because Bobpia would have been frustrated and furious to be down in P15. But let's see what the IRT driver could do as he crosses the line now. It's going to be P8 for Bobpia. That looked like a really good lap time. He lost 2/10 in that middle sector as Bobpia, so did that traffic just catch him out? And IRT Julian, his teammate, has just got into P2 with a 30.9 then, so he splits both NLR drivers. Brandox 1/10 down in the first sector, so not an improvement for him on his last flying lap. And Thomas has got into P4 for WR, so 4 drivers in the 13.9s there, and it's so tantalising close as well. The pressure is ramping up. Qualifying's almost come to a close. 7 seconds left to go on the clock. Let's see if any of these drivers can improve in this last part of qualifying. Majority of drivers are out there. Quartz, the only man, hasn't set a lap time. He's been out there 3 times already, but unfortunately can't get a lap time on the board. I'm staying on board with Kukowski as he's one of the nearest drivers. He's 3/10 up in this middle sector. It's Kukowski. Can he find any more time to be up there? Oni Kitsune has got into P6 there for LDL. Great lap time of 40.0 for him. And now Kukowski making his way. TJ Boss has gone quickest with a 30.7. CPI ahead of NLR. What can Kukowski do in the second Ferrari as we make our way out of the final corner? What's it going to be for the CPI driver? It's P7 with a 40.0. Can anybody respond back? What both NLR doing? Spies in the pit lane. Car Racer is in the pit lane too. Both Aston Martins on their last lap unfortunately have mistakes, and the qualifying session is done and dusted then. Wow, CPI brought it back in the last stages of qualifying, but the problem is TJ Boss finds himself 2 NLR drivers behind him with an IRT mixing up too. And here we are with the RP driver. Let's see what he can do towards the line now as he crosses the line. Goes into P6 then. He fell down the order quite dramatically, but he's back and now he's into P6. What a great qualifying. I thought NLR had this. They had it majority of the qualifying session, but TJ Boss just pulled out of the bag at the very last moment. And Thomas has retired along with the second Thomas, who's going to enter the pit lane right now. So that was a very interesting qualifying. And we'll see more for the race then. I'll take a short break before we get into the qualifying session. By the way, there's no foul plays grid penalties. I'm so glad for that, because I can't be asked for a restart. So thank you everybody for being respectful, especially one of the NLR drivers when Bobpia came at the scene. Just got out of the way in the nick of time too. Could have been a nasty incident, or Bobpia would have to slow down and slam the brakes and would be stuck in P15. But anyways, qualifying's done and dusted. I'll see you all for the race, and let's see what this race has to bring for us. No formation lap, so we're heading straight to the race then. CPI on pole with NLR in P2. Here we are, one of them's got a jump start. Off we go then for the wet race here in Imola. CPI has got a great start ahead of Car Racer in P2, under pressure by Julian. And now will he make his move into turn number 2? Let's have a look as he remains in that formation. Oh, Spicer getting close. He's off the track into turn number 3. And it's all getting tantalising close down there in the midfield mayhem. Thomas is up into P4 now, but you can see NLR Kakowski is going to make a move. Oh, make contact there as he tries to go around the outside of Spicer, so not a great start for the NLR driver of Spicer there, and he falls down into P11. There's been a safety car too, interestingly. Not quite sure why there's a safety car, but it slows things down. Nobody's retired on the grid, but you can see the Alfa Romeo has lost his wing, so that could explain why the safety car has came out at this time in being. So, oh, there's Williams too, he's lost his wing. So safety cars come out for both Williams and Alfa Romeo, who must have came to blows with each other, and unfortunately have to go to the pit lane. But thankfully for them, a safety cars came out, so they won't lose a lot of time in the pit lane because it's such a long pit lane around here in Imola. So the damage is limited, but not ideal. So they're gonna fall back to the back of the field. But yeah, an interesting one. It's a wet race around here in Imola. Will it transfer over to the dry conditions? However, TJ Boss for ZPI have got a great start, and he's been relieved of the pressure now from the other NLR driver, Spicer. Spicer was he a bit too aggressive around the outside? We saw him trying to make a lunge into turn number 2 against was it Thomas at the time or Julian? But it didn't pay off for him. He went off at turn 3. And in the Vilna chicane he made contact too, so Spicer there could be a bit more patient, but hopefully for him he could come back stronger as well, make up those lost grounds. As you can see, those two in the pit lane as you expect. So let's have a look at the most gained and most losses then. Interesting first corner that was down there. And Kakowski and Brandbox has gained 3 places. Quartz as well has also gained 3 places. Oliveira in P9 also gained 3. Vito and P11 representing GT10 have gained 6 so far. Where is Neresino? Oh yeah, Neresino's in P7. He's lost 1 place towards Brandbox. Brandbox and Kakowski have made an absolute flyer. And the most gained so far is Vito in P10. The most lost is Oni in P16 there. Crucial points for LDL. And unfortunately see both of their drivers at the back of the field with ex-Vibre who can't afford any more well, they haven't scored any points this season, so need to make sure the damage is limited and try and make those mistakes well, try and reduce those mistakes. But safety cars came out there and should be in at the end of the next lap, I believe, depending if those two catch up or not in time. Usually can come in earlier. It's about 2 or 3 laps it stays off for, maximum 3, minimum 2. But yeah, safety car then has came to slow things down. Yeah, qualifying was very important then during this race, because track position is very key in the wet. No matter what track it is, it's very hard to overtake in the wet. Depends if you've got a wet setup or not, or if you're much more confident in the driver ahead of you in the wet. But usually ERS around here is much more easy to save in the wet because you're not on the throttle a lot of the times around here. I've had a wet race in Imola myself. It's not very nice because it's so difficult. It's very easy to lose the car on the braking too, with the rear sliding out depending what brake bias you're running. I think it's a one stop. If it stays wet like this, like the whole race, it's a one stop from inter to inter, because a brand new set of inters are really good towards the end against old inters. So I think it'll be a one stop for sure. If anybody tries the non-stop around here, if it stays wet, then I don't think it'll benefit them towards the end because their tyres will be dead. A 32 lap race around here in Imola too, so a long race to go. Safety cars came out to slow things down, so it remains for the time being CPI in P1, NLR P2, IRT P3 and WR in P4 then. And Kakowski got the jump on Vandox too. Vandox made a great start, but Kakowski also gaining the benefit too, so let's see if his race pace is good, because Kakowski's teamwork was phenomenal during the last race, helping his teammate win the victory as well, with those two in P1 and P2 defending from the NLR drivers. And it was a great race to watch as well, with the strategy in play. Unfortunately for both NLR drivers, lost some points at the Australia Grand Prix too, so they were in the chance to fight for first, but a lot of chaos supported between the two of them. So they're looking to gain some points back after Australia. But yeah, throughout the whole season, ETA, NLR and CPI have been really close, and those three teams fighting for the top have been incredible. It's like every single race the pendulum swings to different teams as well. Like for example, NLR could dominate, next race you know CPI could dominate, and then ETA could dominate next time out. But mainly it's just been the CPI, NLR and ETA boys that have been scrapping for first and second. Obviously a few WL drivers and LDL drivers have been in there too, with IRT drivers, but the consistency that the top three teams have been absolutely incredible, and that's what wins the races overall. The consistency, the teamwork. It's a team event as well, so not a drivers championship. So both Ferraris, both Mercedes and both Aston Martins will be looking to work with each other on strategy, see who pits first and see who does this and that, and who's the quickest driver out of all of them. That's what wins the team events. But the safety cars that have decided to come in, and TJ Boss will remain in the lead then, with W.O. Thomas putting pressure on Julian there. Did he get caught napping at the safety car restart, I wonder? So let's see then. It's pivotal not to get caught napping, because there's a long straight ahead of you as we head onto lap 4. No DRS is enabled. And what about Kart Racer? Is he close enough to make a move there on TJ Boss? We're about to find out. They're going wheel to wheel into turn number 2. I think TJ Boss. No, oh, it's so close, a bit of contact there. You can see oh no, more contact, and Kart Racer is in a half spin. And now he's off the track, is Kart Racer. He tried it, but unfortunately it's side by side in the wet into turn 3 and 4. Will never work out, and he's paid the consequences, unfortunately. So both NLR drivers have been pushed back, and they're together once again, but unfortunately not in the circumstances they want to be together. Here's Brandox from the inside into Torsa, but Kakowski had the exit he needed to stay ahead for the time being then. So the ETA driver of Brandox there putting pressure on the CPI driver. Julian's promoted into P2, so it's a great drive so far from IRT Julian in P2. You can see there Kakowski getting very close to the back of Thomas there in P3, and Neresino going off the track at Aquaminerale, and I think he's lost 2 places as well, so he's down as a P8. More yellow flags as the Williams has gone for a spin down there. So can NLR make their way back? I don't believe there's damage on the Aston Martin's car. It was very similar, wasn't it? But look at Kakowski then, not really a conventional overtaking place, but he's done it. He's up into P3. You can see him off the track now, outbraking himself. Brandox might come through as he bounces a lunge up the inside there. Kakowski, I thought he had the move done, but the rear is just sliding all over the place. He couldn't keep on the track. Third in the background, Kart Racer is making a move on Neresino for P8 there. But look at this then, side by side with Brandox and Kakowski. Let's see who's deep on the brakes here to turn number 2. And it's going to be the Ferrari. No! Contact's made! But thankfully they stay on the track as Kakowski there getting all out of shape Brandox is back up into P4. I thought Brandox would give the place to him. I seen he's at the back of him, but not to be the case then. And Vita's got past Spicer then, so he's fallen down the order dramatically. Looks like he's got some damage on the Aston Martin as well. Oh, he goes off the track at turn number 7. Allows the AlphaTauri to go through, and it's not been a great race whatsoever for the NLR driver, as IRT Bompier is all over the back of him. Further up, the AlphaTauri Raul getting out of shape at turn 7 too, so not the greatest of exits for him. He's been under massive pressure from Kart Racer, Spicer, sorry, who's tapped the back of him and goes off the track with Bompier looking to take advantage in Acromeda Rally, but none of them willing to yield, and eventually the AlphaTauri has to do so as Bompier claims the racing line. Spicer off the track, allowing the Williams to come through of Oni Kasoon. And when he make a move into the... Yes, he will. He'll go up the inside at the chicane. A nice, neat move there from the Williams. So unfortunately it's going downhill for NLR, but still Kart Race is still in P8. Maybe the wet conditions are not Spicer's strongest point, so explain why he's fallen down the order. But if he does drive towards the end, more chances of safety car. It's very important for Spicer to stay in this race. Just keep it nice and clean. Just try and keep on the track as much as you can. And Roik in P18 has gone for a spin as Kikowski's back on Brandox into turn 2 once again, and it looks like much cleaner this time from both of them as Kikowski is up into P4 ahead of Brandox. And I think Spicer is going to go on a brand new set of inters, I believe. Yes, he is there. Maybe a front wing change. It wasn't a front wing change, so just get rid of the old inters there, and let's see if we can take them towards the end. There's no front wing damage, so I don't know why. Maybe to get clear air and try and undercut these before these go on to a brand new set of inters. We'll see how the strategy works, but so far it's Boss leading the race ahead of Julian. By the way, Boss has been up there quite a few times this season. I don't think he's won a race yet. He's definitely been on the podium. He got close to winning the race back at the Hungarian Grand Prix, but he had a few penalties to his name. Maybe I missed a few races too. I think he has won a Grand Prix. Maybe just one, but I'm not quite sure. But yeah, he's looking in great form so far. Ever since he took pole away from the two NLR boys, he's been on great form so far. So let's see if we can keep this up. Long race to go in this race. Pressure is on. Concentration is high. Oh, look at this. Kart Race is going to go up the inside into Ravazza 1, into Ravazza 2 now. And you can see L'Oliveira has the outside line and remains in P7 for the time being there. So Kart Racer, despite those mistakes, looks like he hasn't lost any pace at all in that Aston Martin. Kikowski sets the fastest lap of the race, so he's looking very strong. Looking to make it another double CPI podium if he can. WL Thomas is doing a great job as well. It must be said for the guys at WOR. If I check in the championship, they are P4 in the standings then, so they've been there and about. As actually, he's got past him. Julian's off the track at turn 7, and that's a big mistake there, and he falls into P6 now, maybe P7 because they're going side by side. Great helicopter cam to show the pictures of those two fighters as they make their way up the hill then as we head into Peratella. IRT Julian stays ahead but goes off the track, and it might allow. Oh, that's so close there. As you can see, Kart Racer squeezed his way through and he's up into P7, so big costly mistake there for Julian. Did he make contact with somebody? Did he lose it by himself? I'm not quite sure, but the consequences are mighty high. Nevisino has gone off the track, and now the Mercedes of Bompier is going through too. You can see a lot of drivers making mistakes in these conditions. I'm not surprised, it's very difficult, but ever since Julian's mistake, TJ Boss has got freedom, and Kart Racer is around the outside into Ravazza 1. You don't really see moves being there, especially around the outside, but that's a great move there from Kart Racer. So after his first lap few contact, he's making his way back through the field then, so it's nice to see that Kart Racer still got some pace. A very quick driver indeed is Kart Racer. And Nevisino is in the pit lane too, so I wonder if he's going to change his front wing or put on a brand new set of the inters on. Ever since the IRT Esports events has been underway, these racing has been incredible between every single driver, and Roy Penn's unfortunately down there struggling in these wet conditions as IRT Bompier is quite close to the back of the GT10 driver Avita, squirming at the exit of the Verno chicane as we head into Torsa. We saw plenty of great battles through here in the past as well. Schumacher and Pablo Montoya between those two, as Raul has got past Capitaine for P12 in the AlphaTauri. So yeah, so the top 8 within striking distance of each other. TJ Boss has got a great gap over WO Thomas as well. By the way, if Thomas could finish in P2, that'd be a great haul of points. As Kart Racer's got a 3-second time penalty already in this race, but here comes Kikowski putting pressure on Thomas. And the CPI man will go around the outside, but lays the brakes is Thomas. Will he go deep? Yes, he does. Kikowski does the switchback, and he takes him on for P2 as well. So it's the classic under and over situation there from the Kikowski. Just bided his time, made Thomas outbrake himself, and slipped into P2. Could this be another CPI 1-2? And the owners of CPI will be very happy if those two can remain in P1 and P2. Bonpierre has overtaken the Frenchman Avita there for P10. I believe they are a French team. As he falls into P11, LDL Oni now has overtaken him. They're going side by side. Oni's coming up Bonpierre. He almost made 2 for 1 there, but had to bail out of it into turn 2 just in case. Yeah, we've seen plenty of drivers go side by side in turn 2 and turn 3, especially the wet conditions. It doesn't work at all. You've got to bail out surely before turn 2 and turn 3, because even myself, I don't go side by side through there because it's very risky indeed. I could barely make the corners myself in turn 2 and turn 3 in single file, but going side by side is another difficulty, and I'm not willing to do that at all. It's about skill and bravery. Sometimes the pride and ego on driver's side as well, they don't want to back out of it. They just want to stick their nose in, and also contact happens. But Quartz there, it's a P6, and now being under pressure from L'Oliveira, and here he is then before the Variante outer chicane gets past him and promotes himself back into P6 then. Looking to be a great race so far, but CPI have this in the bag so far in this race. Spicer sets the fastest lap of this race then, so I hope for him he's got some momentum going now after his first lap contact. Just goal hanging for a safety car, and the Mercedes there in the background is about to take on GT10 Quartz, who moves himself up into P7 and does IRT Julian. And Brandnock's there getting so close to the back of the AlphaTauri of Thomas, but not able to do anything. Ever since Julian fallen down into P7, the gap has been split between the top 3 there. There's Nevercino getting penalties. Oni's coming back on Bonpierre, so they're having their own scraps there in the midfield for P9, P10 and P11. So quite a few scraps going on in this race as well. I wonder what's the estimation time of arrival of rain stopping. I say arrival. When is the rain going to stop? That's the better question. Is the rain going to continue like this the whole race? If it does, it's going to be a one stop from Inter to Inter. But if the rain does stop, that'll mean you can put on the dry tyres. You can put whatever tyres you want on this race, because the tyre rule of using more than one tyre is not a thing in this race. Sorry, I'm getting lost there. I'm trying to figure out what's going on in this race. We've got the Alfa Romeo down in P18 who's struggling out there here in Imola this afternoon. As Thomas there double locks the brakes coming into Ravazza 1 and to Ravazza 2. Yeah, the tyre rule of using more than one tyre doesn't apply for this race because it's been wet conditions. So whatever the tyres they want to go on, they can go on, and they don't have to worry about making another stop onto a different set because it's been a wet race. So here comes Bandog then. Has he got enough speed to make his way down into turn number 2? He's not close enough, unfortunately. Oh, the AlphaTauri goes off the track at turn number 2. Outbreaks himself, and Thomas there has been put down to P5. Oh, that's a shame there. He was in a great position, but Kart Racer around the outside. This is a risky move down the inside. What a great lunge there from Kart Racer. Last time I saw Aston Martin do that, Spicer fell down the field. So I was quite nervous about that, but Kart Racer there put his car in the right place and is in P3 as well. So that was a great lunge from the Aston Martin driver. Nevercino has set the fastest lap of this race in P15, unfortunately, after making that stop. Was it a scheduled stop, or did he have any damage? I'm not quite sure. He was in the top 10 momentarily. Oh, the McLaren of Brandnock's there, just sliding on the brakes in Acqua Minerale. Very easy to do that, especially in the wet conditions too. But both looks like Kart Race is flying. In the background we can see Quartz is overtaking Julian. Julian picked up a 3-second time penalty, so I'm wondering if he had a moment coming out of Acqua Minerale, just went off the track and allowed Quartz through again. But yeah, Julian had great pace early on this race, but it looks like it's dissipated now. Maybe the mistakes are just not able to get into rhythm like he was at the start of this race. And that's what happens around here. Just the track punishes you so badly there. You just lose momentum and the pace you had. But TJ Boss, though, continues to extend the gap over his Ferrari teammate. The only Ferrari 1-2 we're going to see this season. I'm talking about real life as well. Carlos Sainz won the Spanish Grand Prix, but you won't see a repeat of 1-2 again for a long time in actual F1. But yeah, both Ferraris are in great shape. CPI currently P3 in the championship standings. They're only 3 points behind NLR driver, so if they continue like this, they could find themselves overtaking NLR in the championship standings and getting closer towards ETA. ETA, L'Oliveira and Brandox, P4 and P6 is not over yet. They're trying to extend their margin over NLR in the championship. So NLR's got one of their drivers outside the top 10. Whereas, oh, you can see in the background there, Kwiatkowski done off the track. Did he get distracted by the ghost Alfa Romeo? I hope the Alfa Romeo gets out of the way. Even though he's not a solid car, it can still be off-putting because, yeah, you're trying to look for the racing, you're trying to look for the corners, but Julian's got past Quartz for P7. It just ruins your sight of view. There we go. Into corners as you focus on the corners, but there's a ghosted car in front of you, and therefore you're not able to take the corners you want to. So that could have been a penalty there for Kwiatkowski if he didn't pick up those warnings earlier on in this race. So I'd be very wary just Kwiatkowski not to pick up another warning or two. Depends how many warnings he's got. But yeah, Kart Race has got a 3-second time penalty, and he's putting pressure on. Oh, is this going to be a lunge? No, it's not. Do you know what? I would love to see both Aston Martins in this race. I know Kart Race is back in P3, but I wish Spicer never had his moments, because this would have been a thrilling race between ETA and a lot. It is still a thrilling race, but with Spicer in the equation too, it would have been a fascinating race. If Julian didn't make the mistakes either, what could he have done? But these three, the big top three in the championship, fights it all out for P2. TJ Boss continues to extend his gap. TJ Boss in P1 sees his teammate being under pressure. Kwiatkowski could do a massive favour and be a big roadblock towards Kart Racer and Brandox, not able to do the undercut either on him. So Kwiatkowski could do his teammate favours, and LLR Kart Racer is so close. Tap the back of the Ferrari too for good measure. But you can see the Ferrari has more EOS than disposal then, so be definitely using that down the straight to prevent that NLR car overtaking him and up into P2. It's great recovery by Brandox as well, not had a great qualifying, and also L'Oliveira, so both of them not having great qualifyings definitely turned it into a good race so far, and more could be on the table too, because Kart Racer's 3-second time penalty could put Brandox into P3, so it's great so far for both ETA to come back after a dismal qualifying for their standards. But here we are then, on to lap 14 out of 32. We're almost halfway there, but not yet. And Kwiatkowski's under huge pressure. Kart Racer's going to go down the inside into turn 2. And nicely controlled on the brakes there, Kart Racer. Doesn't look like he was about to slide at any moment in time, so very confident in himself to be on the brakes there that late. And he's put some great moves on in this race and puts himself into P2. Does the man from the Germany, but Kwiatkowski then into P3, not able to hold off. And Kart Racer's great pace. Can he try and claw in on TJ Boss? That'd be a big ask. You can see him up the road there into turn 9, into Piratella. And Kart Racer 5 seconds later will appear at that particular part of the circuit too. L'Oliveira putting pressure on Thomas as well, so Thomas there still hanging on in P5. Obviously at that moment it's turn number 2 and had to give way between Kwiatkowski and Brandox. They got overtaken by Kart Racer 2. So L'Oliveira will be looking to make his way through it too. Just trying to minimise the mistakes around here. Easier said than done, of course, but that's what keeps you in this race. As Roy Penns has picked up a 3-second time penalty. You know what? Despite being in P18 and making loads of mistakes and struggling too, I'm gonna give massive respect for staying in the race, because I know Kart Race going a bit deep into Ravazza 1 could influence Kwiatkowski to overtake him into turn number 2, but no, not on that occasion. Kart Racer saves the car and still ahead. But yeah, Roy Penns in P18. L'Oliveira picks up a 3-second time penalty. Actually, it's a 5-second time penalty for speed in the pit lane then, so it's a one sort of strategy onto a brand new set of inters. So I wonder what these guys are going to do. I think they'll definitely have to respond now. Kart Racer, Kwiatkowski, Brandox, they've all got to respond. Try to make sure that they don't leapfrog ahead of those guys. You can see Kwiatkowski's under pressure there from Brandox then, so his tyres probably start to fade away at this stage of the race. It's impossible to go to the end on these set of inter tyres. So crucially, where do those guys rejoin? Because Oliveira's in P8, he's got a fresh clean air ahead of him, nobody ahead of him, so he can try and use that gap to undercut those guys ahead on a brand new set of Inters too, and push as hard as he can to get into P2. Julian's rejoined P13, he's got Nevercino ahead of him, who's pitted much earlier, sorry. So I think these guys will be in the pit lane at the end of this lap too to prevent those undercuts. Their main focus on Oliveira, trying to undercut Thomas, and let's see if it's worked out his favours. I think these three will be in the pit lane at the end of this lap, I'm sure of it. No, they don't go to the pit lane, except Brandok's in P4, probably last in this DRS trade, so he had to go for a pit stop to do the undercut. Looks like he had great pace too, as Thomas is in P5, also pitted as well. So going to be an interesting stage of this race. Let's see, where do they rejoin in comparison towards Oliveira? Here he comes. There he is in a McLaren, exiting the final corner. Has he used these inters on his out lap to get ahead of those guys who just pitted? You can see purple in the last sector, and here we are at the pit lane. Then he's jumped his teammate, and he's also jumped the AlphaTauri Thomas there. So that's a huge undercut there. Oliveira is up into P4, and that suggests to me that Kwiatkowski and Kart Racer will be undercutted because Brandok's was right behind them. But a safety car will not do any favours between both McLarens. They don't want a safety car, and there's an Alfa Romeo who's spun at the exit of the Verno chicane. So now this is the time for pit. You can see Oliveira is absolutely flying on the brand new set of Inters, but those guys extended at the top three, extended so much. Kart Racers actually pulled the gap down. It was 5 seconds at one point. It was 3.8 momentarily, so it looks like Kart Racer in these wet conditions has got some great pace. Who's that in the AlphaTauri's gone for a spin? Oh dear, it's Rouse in P14 at the exit of turn before, has gone for that spin. But these guys then, TJ Boss extends his tyre life. Kart Racer in P2 pits. It's a CPI 1-2 once again. So Kart Racer will definitely get undercutted by those guys. But you can see CPI have extended their... I don't know about this strategy from CPI, because they're going to fall down in this DRS train, especially Kwiatkowski. I think TJ Boss could slot in. I don't know. How is this going to plan out though? Because TJ Boss had a massive gap, didn't he? So Oliveira goes through. Here he is, sets the fastest lap of the race. Nevercino picks up a penalty, and Oliveira is up into P3 ahead of Kart Racer by a distance as well. And Brandok's into P4. So both ETA drivers ahead of the NLR driver. Now this is going to be a very interesting stage of the race. Both Ferraris have extended their gap over the rest of them. I mean, extended their tyre life, shall we say. I think TJ Boss remains in first place. He's got to pick this lap surely to protect the undercut against Kart Racer. What will Kwiatkowski do? Will he follow his teammates to the pit lane? There's a 5.4 margin ahead of him, so I thought Kwiatkowski would have pitted at the same time as Kart Racer, but we're about to see what happens at the end of this lap. TJ Boss can't afford to circulate out there too long because he will get undercutted by those guys behind. And now he makes his pit stop. Thomas has picked up a 3-second time penalty, and into the pit lane comes TJ Boss, and Kwiatkowski has stayed out there again. Whoa, you can see there Kwiatkowski will have the best tyre life out of them all, as Julian has overtaken X-Vibre for P7. Crucial move there because he was on older tyres, as Quartz is also about to make an attack on the Alfa Romeo driver. So Boss, where will he rejoin? Here comes Oliveira, here comes Brandok then. Let's see, by pitting out there later has benefited him. Out of the pit lane he comes right now. Oh, there he is. He has been undercutted. What about Brandok? Will he come too? Let's see. He's been so close into turn number 2. Brandok's on the inside. They're going side by side, but Boss needs to warm his tyres first because he just came out of the pit lane. So that massive lead then has fallen down into P4, unfortunately for TJ Boss, but he has the tyre life. But was it worth it still out there 2 or 3 laps later? Had a huge gap in the first stint. But has he got the pace on these tyres to make that gap back, or just try and overtake those two? We'll see. Kwiatkowski will drop, probably behind. That's going to be quite close actually. Let's have a look at the gap to leader. Around where Thomas, I think he'll slot in between Thomas and Julian, or Kwiatkowski. That's interesting then. Boss has stayed out there a few laps later, and majority of people pick up penalties in this race too. Let's not forget. And Raul is retired in the pit lane then, so no safety car to be deployed. That would help Kwiatkowski by a lot as well. So into the pit lane comes Kwiatkowski, and let's see, where does he rejoin? I predicted it between Thomas and Julian. It's such a long pit lane. I underestimate how long this pit lane is actually. On a brand new set of inches he goes on. Hopefully that was a glitch and he wasn't actually stationary longer than he would have wanted. Oh, I can't really see from this camera angle, but here we are then. Where has Kwiatkowski rejoined as he exits the pit lane? There is Thomas, and what about Julian? As Julian there is on the straight right now. And there is Kwiatkowski, so he slots in to Thomas and Julian. There's yellow flags. That's an AlphaTauri! Oh, that was, thank God ghosting was on, because that could be a nasty incident. I think that's Raul coming out of the pit lane to retire. And he's the first one to retire in this race, despite Royk in P18 being a lap down, so massive respect for him. I couldn't have done this if I was him, just stayed out there for that long, because I would have been in the pit lane to retire by now, after being in last place. And you can see TJ Boss with those fresher rinses then immediately on the back of Brandox, as Oliveira, is that a second penalty for him? He definitely picked up a penalty in the pit lane. Yeah, it is. It's an 8-second time penalty, so he picked up a penalty in the pit lane, and now he's got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. So I think TJ Boss is actually in a great position. He's got fresher inters, and 2 or 3 laps on a set of inters can make a big difference indeed on this game. And he's all over the back of TJ Boss. Oh, Brandox, sorry. He knows Oliveira has got a penalty, whereas Brandox doesn't, so he's looking really good, is TJ Boss. Can't afford to risk any mistakes behind Brandox after all that good hard work he's done in the first stint to pull a big gap. Kart Racer was the driver who was racing at the start of the race, and he finds himself there again. But here we are, it's turn number 2. Is Brandox... Oh, the contact! And Boss to the spin! Oh, no! After such a great race for TJ Boss, all that great work he's done, get tagged by Brandox trying to go around the outside. It's such a shame, and I think CPI will be on the phone to the stewards about that one. This man was looking to be in great shape to win this race, had great pace, had fresher tyres, but unfortunately he's going to be so frustrated. I feel for him in P7. Even if you like TJ Boss or not, I dare say you should feel sorry for him, because yeah, he's drove a brilliant race this race, and he's just tumbled down into P7 where he shouldn't be. But same with Julian in P2, but TJ Boss led the race from start until now. He's putting pressure on Julian, so hopefully this hasn't phased him and hasn't frustrated him. There'll be frustration for sure, but can he keep composed, I wonder? How professional is he in racing when he gets involved in incidents? Is he level-headed? Is he composed? Because I know I'm not composed when it comes to incidents. I get angry, but some people could just calm down immediately and just get back to where they were. And some people just, yeah, they're all over the place once that happens and just lose focus. But ETA currently P1 and P2. And let's see then. This is a reverse of the Australian Grand Prix. CPI were 1 and 2, and now it's ETA 1 and 2 too. So the pendulum has swung towards ETA's way, but could a penalty be coming Brandox's way as well after that contact into turn number 3? It's a difficult corner though to assess really, because you're arriving at high speed, the tight corners through turn 2, 3 and 4. Neresino picks up another penalty. In fact, Oni's gone for a spin, hasn't he? Yeah, he has, so he's fallen down the order. But as you can see, Kart Racer is putting massive pressure on Brandox ahead of him. So despite his first lap contact or the safety car restart, when he made contact going around the outside, he's still showing some great monumental pace in that Aston Martin. He has the penalties to his name, but does he have the pace to extend that over Brandox? As you can see, all over the back of the ETA driver, the Italian driver of Brandox in P2, representing ETA. What a drive from Oliveira as well. I know he's got penalties, but considering where he starts as well, I think it was just outside the top 10 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was P12. So despite a difficult qualifying, he's came back stronger in this race. He was one of those drivers who pitted early in this race, and I wonder, could it bite him back later towards the end of this race, when Kwiatkowski, the likes of Kart Racer catch up. And here comes, oh, that was so close there. Was it a late lunge there from Brandox? Did he defend a bit too late? I'm not quite sure, but he's kept Kart Racer at bay for the time being. And here he comes then, pulls to the left hand side, use it, look at the speed he had, and had to bail out that way. Goes deep into the corner, did Brandox push him? And Brandox gets a decent exit now as we head into turn number 7 we go. Kart Racer has the inside line, does Brandox have the grip to go around the outside? Here we go, fight for traction on the exit, as they both side by side once again as we head into Piratella. Kart Racer has the inside line and the racing line too. Does he go deep? No, he doesn't, but Brandox there still with him. And Kart Racer once again showing why his wheel-to-wheel combat is really good in league racing. Even in the wet conditions of a track like this, his league racing skills are incredible. And Brandox there tried to fight it as hard as he could, but had to give way eventually. Relinquish him down into P3. You can see Kukowski putting pressure on Thomas ahead of him. Thomas has done a great job in this race too. Let's not forget to mention him. He did make mistakes into turn number 2, but still after that looks like he sorted himself out and tried to minimise the mistakes as well. So great drive from Thomas in P4, but still he's got a lot of work to do because fast 2 Ferraris are right behind him. In fact, there he is getting overtaken by one of them. And Kukowski moves himself up into P4 as well, ahead of the AlphaTauri driver. I think Kukowski could find himself on the podium too. 2 drivers ahead of him, not too far away, plus penalties with Kart Racer and Lola. So Kart Racer could be under pressure still, depending if Kukowski got the pace to catch up. Bearing in mind though, in the first stint, looks like he was dropping off so slightly. As Boss has picked up a penalty there in P6 then, so makes his job much more hard, unfortunately, for himself. So 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers in this race haven't picked up any penalties, and Bompier and Zenom, if a safety car comes out very late in this race, they could find themselves catapulting dramatically up the order too. So those two are going to make sure they don't pick up penalties. And let's see the penalty situation. Let's have a quick glance. So 6 seconds for Oni. Neversino's got 12. Lolivera's got 8. Once for spinning the pit lane. So if he does make another pit stop, he will be reduced to 3 seconds. So he's only got a penalty for corner cutting and spinning the pit lane, but not ideal, of course. This race will stay wet throughout the entirety of this Grand Prix too, so it's not going to dry up anytime soon. Although I love to be it for a dry race, I like it when it's a wet qualifier session, a dry race, because drivers are usually good in the dry, maybe not in the wet. They're put down in the order and they have to make a comeback drive in the wet conditions. But so far, all these drivers showing some great pace in this competition we're having in IRT Esports. Know some of these as well racing in EML F1 and F2. And PSGL as well for good measure. ILT Julian picks up another 3 second tail penalty. So what's the gap then? 4 seconds. Looks like Kart Racer started to pull away from Brandox actually. Neversino picks up the fastest lap of the race. Have the bragging rights for that one. He's on a brand new set of inters too. Is Neversino. He's just made a pit stop a few laps before. Spicer in P16. He's still going down in last place. I know it's so hard. The leaders are not actually too far behind either, so despite those contacts in the first lap, he's still there in P16. Keep going and circulating around the circuit. Just probably trying to get some information or just trying to goal hanger for a safety car. If only we could see what he could have done if he didn't make contacts and try and join him with his teammate. But the gap between Oliveira and Kart Racer is starting to drop down then, so the battle for P1 is on. And Kart Racer, who looked like he wasn't in a position to be on the podium and win after that mistake into the Verno chicane, making contact with, was it Brandox? I can't remember who it was now on the first lap. But despite that contact, he's shown some great comeback pace and overtaking skills as well. So it's not over yet. The battle for P1 is still on. Can Kart Racer could continue to just eat into that lead? And Boss has overtaken WR Thomas to go side by side out to Tozer. And now TJ Boss is ahead into P5. He has the freshest tyres out of the lot, but obviously he spun with that contact he made with Brandox. Brandox tapped the back of him. Such a shame there. It's a cruel way to go in any race. Actually, Boss, what's happened to him? He's lost his wing. Boss has lost his wing. He just spun and crashed at the exit of Acqua Minerale. So any chance for a podium now has completely been wiped out, and another trip to the pits is necessary. So after that pit stop, it's all gone downhill for CPI. Kwiatkowski's still there with P4, battling away with Brandok. It's actually caught up to the back of the ETA driver too. So could Kwiatkowski finish on the podium? What's the gap between Kwiatkowski and Oliveira? If it's under 8 seconds, Kwiatkowski could find himself on the podium. Look at the overspeed he has. But as you could see, Brandok's... Julian... Yeah, I'm trying to have a look. I got confused for a second because I was going to say TJ Boss had been overtaken by Kwiatkowski, but he sped in the pit lane. So Brandok is putting the car in the right places, in the middle of the road, as Kwiatkowski keeps hounding him for P3. I'm going to have a look at the gap now between P1 to P4, see the gap to leader. Yeah, 5.5, so at this rate Kwiatkowski would be on the podium. It would be kart racer Brandok and Kwiatkowski. And TJ Boss is coming on the pit lane now. Where will he rejoin? I think in P11. It's critical that he stays in the race just in case he finds himself inside the top 10 to gain some extra points on CPI and NLR. Every point does matter. So far, Neresino picks up the championship, the fastest lap of the race. So can TJ Boss get that point back off Neresino? He should have some clear air ahead of him. Does TJ Boss? Yeah, 3.7 then. Freshens is on board on that Ferrari. Bompia picks up another penalty too. Try and keep the penalties to a minimum because a few guys ahead of him have got more than 3 seconds. So on a fresh set of inters and the pace he had. Look at Kwiatkowski then, this time around the outside. And he was much closer than he was on the last lap, and he moves himself up into P3. Brandok has fallen down the order, has the McLaren driver. The gap is 2.9 between Kart Racer and Oliveira, so it looks like Kart Racer is in a great place to win this race. All he needs to do is not pick up another penalty and try and keep below that gap of 3 seconds, I believe it is. Starts at P2, but fell down the order after making contact to the first lap. Neresino is ahead of Zenon there for P14. My math is not great at all. Math skills are terrible, so yeah, keep below 5 seconds and he should win this race with ease. And kart racer Kwiatkowski too. Kwiatkowski's in a great place to win this race actually, because the gap's under 8 seconds and Kwiatkowski's 1.5 behind Kart Racer. So if Kwiatkowski can show some great pace towards the end, try and keep below 3 seconds, he could find himself winning this race too. I think Kwiatkowski's in a great place now, thinking about the maths, but his tyres are younger too in comparison to Kart Racer, because that could play a little bit of effect towards the end of the race too. So the victory will go towards Kart Racer or Kwiatkowski, or probably Brandok if he can re-overtake Kwiatkowski, or dragging him along in his slipstream too. 4 laps left to go in this race. Great recovery drive from Oliveira, but unfortunately picked up penalties along the way. Only 3 drivers in this race haven't picked up penalties. It's rained throughout the entirety of this race. We see some great battles in this race. A bit of contact too, as Neresino there going for the winner of the most penalties in this race. 15 seconds he's got, so trying to collect as many as he can before he gets disqualified. Captain picks up one as well. Neresino's all over the back of Zenon for P13. Here we are on the straight for these two then. Haven't mentioned, Neresino there just losing at the exit of the final corner. Yeah, Neresino was in the top 10 initially at the start of this race, but he made an early pit stop. I didn't see his changes from wing either. And will Neresino be close enough to make a lunge into turn number 2? He's going to go for it, you know, and he can't do it. Brandok picks up. Brandok has picked up his first penalty then of this race. So only 2 remain without any penalties, which is Zenon and Kwiatkowski. I wasn't expecting this much penalties, as Neresino is trying to go around the outside into Torso we go. Does he have the speed to go around the outside? Yes, he does. Great traction too, and launches ahead of the Williams driver. Kart Racer there, just trying to bring the gap down as much as he can. He's hoping that Kwiatkowski picks up a 3-second penalty. Easier said than done, of course, but Kwiatkowski, all he needs to do is try and keep it in with in the white lines. Can't afford to go out wide. I don't know how many warnings he's got, and I can't check either because there's a glitch where if I go check, it stays on that race director, so I'm not risking it again. Apologies for all if you want me to check it or not, but I'm not going to risk it. Unless somebody's in the race and can tell me how many warnings Kwiatkowski got, but in this last 3 or 4 laps, it's so crucial for Kwiatkowski not to pick up a penalty. I don't know if he knows himself that he could win this race. Maybe maybe TJ Boss is telling him, or the CPI boys down there are telling him that he can win this race. But Brandox is still putting pressure on him, and I thought Kwiatkowski relinquished him, but still, he's on the back of him. So it's not done and dusted yet. If Brandox can keep continuously pushing Kwiatkowski, as to TJ Boss has overtaken Bonpy, he's up into P9 then. So 7.6 is the next target of Oni. Oni's ran a decent race as well. Quartz in P7 has also ran a decent race in there for GT10. Where did he start? He started in P11. TJ Boss has picked up a 3-second time penalty too. Another one to add to his collection. Yeah, I think W.O. Thomas has done a really great job too in that AlphaTauri P5. I want to mention his progress, but Brandox there is still putting pressure on Kwiatkowski. But yeah, WOR have been thereabouts. I think they've been on the podium a few times this season, if my memory is correct. But yeah, they've shown some great pace so far. So in the next few races, can they try and close in on ETA? But Brandox there is going side by side into Torres. Here we go. Kwiatkowski has the outside line. Better launch there. Was there a bit of contact? I wonder. But Kwiatkowski remains in P3 and he can't afford this battle because the gap keeps continuing to go up. The gap is 2.7 between himself and Car Racer. So Kwiatkowski needs to be aware to keep the gap between under 3 seconds. Otherwise, Kwiatkowski... Oh, look at this. It stopped raining. But I don't think it's enough to put on a dries. And if it is, there's no point putting on a dries because there's only a few laps to go in this race then. So Thomas... Another penalty on the board. If there were more safety cars, I dare say the softs could have been introduced in this race, but we're coming to a point where it won't dry up enough to put on the soft compound tyres. And obviously you don't want to pit now because you lose a lot of time. I don't think it's enough for soft tyres to be introduced either. I don't think nobody's in the pit lane in this lap, but it's definitely stopped raining. But yeah, the Inters are the way to go during this race. The only tyre choice that's been used is the Inters, but Brandox there is going to go up the inside into turn number 2 then, and he keeps it nice and controlled on the brakes, and Kwiatkowski's dropped into P4, so that's not great news whatsoever. NLR still could be on for a victory, depending if Brandox and Kwiatkowski keep squabbling like this. Kwiatkowski's got the tyre advantage, he's got no penalties, but yeah, I think Kart Racer desperately needs those two to fight. If Brandox has got the pace towards the end of this race, Kwiatkowski could just remain in the back of him. But the gap is 3.2 now between Kwiatkowski and Kart Racer. And Dirk saying show pens. I will do, Dirk, just for you, mate. There we go. There's the penalty situation. I think the gap is 3.2, so NLR Kart Racer is still on for a victory, which I thought Kart Racer had it in the bag. Kwiatkowski had it in the bag, but ever since he got overtaken, it looks like he's losing some pace once again. We saw this, didn't we, this first stint, that Kwiatkowski just seems to lose a bit of grip and tyre wear towards on a long set of the Inters, so I wonder... Is that the reason why he's dropping some pace now, losing some pace? Maybe the setup a bit too harsh for the tyres. But I think Kart Racer, I think his teammate needs to get out of the way just in case he misjudges his braking zone. Boss picks up another 3-second time penalty. Are you happy with the penalty situation, Dirk? Can you figure it all out? So I think Kart Racer is in it to win it now, but it's the last lap of this race. Kwiatkowski needs to pull a mighty lap if he wants to finish in P1 during this race. The gap is 3.6 now between Kart Racer and Kwiatkowski. It keeps fluctuation, but if Brandox has the pace towards the end, can drag Kwiatkowski along, this is going to be mighty close. 3.1 is the gap between Kart Racer and Kwiatkowski. Kwiatkowski needs to find some more time in this last sector. Kart Racer also pushes as hard as he can as well to make sure he finishes in first, but Kwiatkowski has the younger tyres. But look at this then, Kart Racer could win this race because Braddock's made a huge mistake and Kwiatkowski shoved him through the corners there. He needs to get past that McLaren. He's becoming a roadblock and he can't do it. And I think Oliveira then will come across the line to finish in P1. Is that over? Is Kwiatkowski going around the outside? Braddock's late to the brakes. He can't do it, unfortunately. So Oliveira will finish in P1. A bit the victory goes towards Kart Racer. What a fantastic drive as Braddock's will finish in P4 as Kwiatkowski finishes in P2. 1.2 was the gap, so he lost a lot of time. I think Braddock's made a mistake at Acro Minerali, so yeah, Kwiatkowski would have loved to dispose that McLaren straight away, but he couldn't do it. IRT Julian finishes in P6, Thomas in P5, and GT Sports finishes in P6 now because of Julian's penalties. And TJ Boss, what a shame for him. What could it have been for him too? It would have been an interesting fight between Kart Racer and the two McLaren boys fighting it out for first, but yeah, TJ Boss, what a shame for him. Got a feel for him indeed. Bompier finished in P10 ahead of XVB. He might have finished in P10 because of penalties. Let's see where he is. There he is. I don't think he'll finish in P10. No, he doesn't. I thought he was closer than that, but that was my eyes deceiving me. I think this is Capitaine and Zenon are the last ones to cross the line too to round off this Imola Grand Prix. There is Capitaine in P15 then, in the Alpine. LDL scores some points. GT10 has scored some decent points. I think the guys back at the French team will be happy with Quartz's performance this time. Great result for GT10 Quartz in P6. That's the Imola Grand Prix done and dusted then. I hope you all enjoyed that. That was an incredible race. I know it was wet throughout the whole of it, but still, we've seen some great action between all the drivers here going side by side. A chaotic first lap. We saw Kart Racer fall down the order due to contact, but still had that mighty pace to claw his way back through. Kwiatkowski, sorry, looked like he was in the position to win the Grand Prix, but ever since Braddock's overtook him, that chance faded away. And when I think Braddock's made a mistake, held Kwiatkowski up, wasn't able to take the victory. The gap was 1.2 in the end. So what a great drive from German driver again. Phenomenal performance from Kart Racer. And Thomas stayed where he started to in P5. I hope you all enjoyed that. That was a great race. I was hoping it'd be dry towards the end. Well, not towards the end, but still. But anyways, we'll round it all off. I hope you all enjoyed that. I'll see you next Sunday. And NLR have won as they want to continue to extend closing the gap of ETA, but with only one of their drivers finishing on the podium or taking the win. Both ETAs in P3 and P4. So therefore, I think ETA will have the margin over Aston Martin in the championship again to extend their gap. Kwiatkowski for CPI doing a great job too. Started P8, clawed his way back to P2. TJ Boss finishing the points and also got the fastest lap, so tries to get some points on the board, which is helpful in every way. And I'll write it off there then. So hopefully you all had a good weekend. I'll see you all next Sunday at 4:30 for the next track. Take care and goodbye.